Hey y'all in your 40 ES, what are the physical changes you start to see in your body once you leave your 30s? What should we expect to experience physiologically as we get into our fourth decade? Story 1: body started degenerating a lot more after about 45. It's still healthy and works, but I have to be careful about feeling it properly, getting some exercise and the like. But now I look old and people treat me differently because of it, and that's sad. Story 2: I like to joke I hit 40, and the check engine light came on. You'll get random aches and pains that just come and go, and sometimes stick around permanently. If you injure yourself, expect healing times to be 2-3 times longer at least. Same with illnesses, you just don't bounce back like you used to. Story 3: mid-40s athletic male here. All my joints constantly ache, and it takes longer to recover after exercise and playing sports. I'm always feeling stiff, and I was recently diagnosed with osteoarthritis in my shoulder. I can't get comfortable when I sleep at night, and when I do fall asleep I have to get up multiple times to pee. I wear glasses to see far, but have to remove my glasses, contacts, to read. That's how the 40s have impacted me physically. Story 4: all of your old injuries come back to haunt you. That banged up knee that you got sliding into home plate when you were 9. Hello again. That time you tweaked your back lifting that grocery bag. Did you miss me? Blurry eyes from staying up too late on the computer. Well, now they're always blurry. Story 5: if you're a woman, perimenopause. You don't realize how much hormones contribute to the overall running of your body until they start to go away. Horrible periods at random times, acne, hair loss, weight problems, extreme fatigue and muscle wasting, violent emotional swings, inability to concentrate, fun times. Story 6: if you're married with kids and you are not really out of shape but also not one for the gym, you will pack on the pounds if you're not careful. I was one of those. Woke up in my early 40s and started hitting the gym and taking better care of myself. And of course, I thought, why did I wait this long? So, get off your butt and get going. Also, as you age, you don't put on muscle as easily, and you don't burn fat like you used to. All that stuff you eat and drink without a thought starts sticking to you. And you are just not as active if you are busy with family and career, so you have to mindfully plan to take care of yourself. Now that I'm even older, I'm so happy I started and have kept going. I'm in good health and good energy, sound mind. Story 7: I'm 45. Nothing changed. I don't have a healthy diet. All sugar and fat. The only time in my life I ever put on weight was in lockdown, where I nearly hit normal instead of underweight. It's gone since life returned to normal. I don't specifically exercise, I just live my life. No mobility or stamina or breathing or heart problems. I don't have health problems at all, in fact. A very occasional minor injury, for example, hitting my thumb with a hammer. A minor headache about once or twice a year. My last pack of 16 paracetamol lasted 6 years. One paracetamol will see the headache off in 10 minutes, enough that I could just fall asleep. I have never had back pain, joint pain, etc. I lift heavy things but properly and in stages, never doing the dumb thing. My strength is not diminished, if anything better. I bought a house last year and am doing all kinds on it myself. Still flexible, still getting up ladders just fine, working in cramped conditions if I need to, etc. And often have to show the young'uns who work for me how to do things by doing them for them. My eyes got a tiny bit worse. Always worn glasses since being poked in the eye by equipment at my birth. First change in prescription in over 20 years last year, and only in one of them, and only minor, and no other problems with them. Had a full checkup. No ailments, conditions, medication, though I would take it if medically necessary. Never hurt myself seriously. Never stayed overnight in a hospital. Never attended A&E. Never been put on a course of medication by a doctor. Never had a serious infection. Never got food poisoning, all the minor infectious diseases, stomach bugs, etc. Either don't touch me or are drastically reduced in severity. Everyone else has a week off, laid up in agony, throwing their guts up. I feel a little off, vomit twice, I'm fine by the next day, but won't return to work because I work with other adults and children, and that's not right. I suspect that my COVID infection, in the early days before official lockdowns and proper testing, was a slight couple of off days I had around that time. Being in my 40s is no different to my 30s, which was little different to my 20s. Many of the problems people have in their 40s are self-inflicted by doing dumb stuff when they're younger and taking risks they know they shouldn't. I've yet to feel old in any fashion. I have whiffs of gray hair on my sideburns and beard, that's about it. By comparison, my brother and dad, 5 and 23 years older than me, looked so much older at this age and had quite a few other problems. Worst thing I've ever done to myself is hurt my ankle by falling off a bed, and then doing the exact same a year later. I hobbled for about 3-4 days in each instance, needed no treatment, no long-lasting effects. 40s isn't old, unless you've taxed and abused your body in the preceding 30 years. Story 8. Let's see. I threw my back out and wound up on the sofa for 3 days, moving a trowel full of dirt from a bag to a planter. I developed cataracts in both eyes. Yes, both. Years of terrible work posture, I assume, led to a bulging disc in my neck. Washing my face with bar soap, if I remember, has morphed into a whole multi-product routine more complicated than anything I had as an acne-riddled teen. There is more gray in my hair than brown. My right knee can tell when it's going to rain. I don't really drink anymore because the hangovers last for days and just aren't worth it. Sleeping in a weird position means at least 1 full day of back/neck/shoulder pain. My periods come every 3 weeks now instead of every 4. I'm pretty sure I could grow a goatee to rival any teenagers if I stopped my daily search for hairs in places I do not want hairs. Falling asleep is hard. Staying asleep is hard. Waking up rested is a pipe dream. Every so often, I get to wake up in a pool of my own sweat. But I wake up. I'm at a good place in a career I love. I care less about what others think with each passing day. I have found friends and activities that bring me joy. Story 9. In my 40th year, I had just gotten done running my first full marathon. At 40, I was training, instructing, and professionally performing as an aerial acrobat. I started training at age 35 with zero background in dance, gymnastics, or acrobatics. I'm 45 now. Going to do a Tough Mudder run this summer and am training for a couple half marathons in the fall. I've never been more energetic, healthy, and fit in my entire life. I have some more gray, and the laugh lines are a little deeper. Just don't stop moving. Story 10. Eyebrow hair, ear hair, goddamn, knock it off. I'm 43, and have been trying to cut weight a bit, and it's a giant pain in the ass all of the sudden. I'm only 165, trying to get down to 155, and my normal tricks aren't working. Spent a week at 1,800 cal, 150 protein, and the rest in carbs and fats and shit. The damn scale didn't move. Have to really step up cardio and weights to get it going. Story 11. Gray hair, wrinkles, and acne all at the same time. Sometimes you really do pee a little if you sneeze hard, even if you haven't had kids. Uterine fibroids are a thing that exist, and come to find out most of us have at least one, and sometimes they cause a ruckus. On the plus side, I'm old enough to know my body now. I know what's normal and what's not. I know when to get something checked out or when to just give it some time. I have my contraceptive dialed in and don't have to worry about pregnancy. My periods aren't a problem, and these tits are still amazing. Getting older means changes, but they aren't all terrible. Story 1243 here. Ladies, at some point in your late 30s, you will wake up and realize everything is bullshit, and you don't care what any dude thinks about you, LOL. After a youth indoctrinated to seek their approval, you realize it's all bullshit. Don't shave your legs and underarms, don't wear a bra, cut your hair short and dye it blue, get all of the tattoos and piercings you ever wanted. That one dude doesn't find you attractive? Ha 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 ha. That is the biggest and most important physical change you will experience as you age. Story 13. The best thing you can do to avoid most of these issues is to take care of yourself now. Easier said than done, obviously, but with the benefits of fitness almost everywhere you look, nobody should have an excuse these days. No, you don't need to buy chips, crackers, ketchup, juice, sugary cereals, etc. You don't. Spend that dollar amount on what you would have spent on that crap and invest in yourself. Gym, better foods, whole foods, etc. On top of that, exercise. Don't choose one or the other, do both. Weight resistance training and cardio. People want to think that it's just a temporary thing, but it's not. You need to constantly work at being healthy. And at the end of the day, you have to morph your mentality around that. Instead of looking at it as a chore, try to enjoy it. Reality doesn't care about how you feel about something one way or the other. If you don't look after your car, reg maintenance, or house, or anything, then it'll degrade and eventually get to a point where it's beyond repair. Your body is absolutely in no way, shape, or form, not in this universe or any other universe, any different. Story 14. It's like you still could shovel out a full truck of gravel and wheel it across the lawn like you did at 36, but you really don't want to now. You used to want to take the lead in every task, but you start to see some value in just being the management side of it. Let the young bucks do the actual work. You start to notice that old injury you got at 22, but it totally healed. Turns out it didn't totally heal. You start to get really annoyed if your schedule is interrupted. Like if you always eat at 6 p.m. and someone invites you to go out to eat at 7:30, yeah, that's a tough ask. And hanging out with friends on Saturday starts to mean sometime before 4 p.m., not sometime after 10 p.m. Story 15 asterisk 5th decade. When you hit 40, that means you've already completed 4 decades. Joint pain and stiffness becomes more common. Hair loss. You won't be able to run as fast because your max HR will decrease. For some, kidney stones and other urinary and bowel problems begin to present. Your eyes don't focus as well. Your ears don't hear as well. Exercise and proper diet can slow the march of time and maybe push much of this off to your 50s and 60s, but this is what the typical male in America will experience. Story 16. You get injured more often, and it takes longer to heal. Your metabolism slows down, and you'll have to reconcile with your new body reality. Best things you can do to prevent problems are stretch regularly. Go to the doctor/dentist/voodoo practitioner for preventative care and checkups. Wear supportive shoes and drink water. Try not to be sedentary. Walk as much as you can. I'm 41 and about to celebrate my first anniversary with my physical therapist treating my plantar fasciitis. I've always been active and athletic, but I was lazy about stretching and I'm paying the price now. Luckily, I have great insurance because fixing this shit is expensive. Stretch. Story 17. At 48, I got clobbered by a few things at once, and I'm still digging out. Frozen shoulder. Fuck you, and I mean that deeply. Vision changes, standing up sends alarms through all your joints, and you think, when was I training for Iron Man? What is this nonsense? And you realize the muscle stiffness is from sitting, not exercising. Toddling to the kitchen first thing in the morning instead of walking like a natural biped, random midday naps, sudden low iron, perimenopause. Sleep is disrupted every night from one or two of the above-mentioned annoyances. The good part is I am fixing a lot of this, and the idea of food as nutrition and not a pleasure hobby has a new meaning, something I could never really buy into except superficially in my 30s. When your health starts to fray at the edges, you realize how good you've had it. And you also understand why old people give 0 fucks. And you consider a day of peace and quiet more restorative than excitement and change. Fuck, I need a young boyfriend. Story 18. I'm only 30, but funny this question popped up because I was just on the phone with a 43-year-old former professional rugby player friend of mine, and we spoke about longevity. He pretty much told me that once you get past your 30s, 3 things become paramount: sleep, nutrition, and avoiding injury from training through smart programming. If you can nail those 3 things down, you can pretty much avoid 90% of aging ailments. Father Time always wins, but you can slow his approach down to a trickle if you play your cards right, barring acts of God, of course. TLDR, get quality sleep, eat healthy foods, train intelligently. Story 19. So much negativity in this thread. I have some good news for you then. I've been taking good care of myself since I was 19 and joined the military. I'm now 45. Have exercised since 19 and eat mostly healthy, stopped drinking sodas at 19, and started drinking green tea every day at age 21. The end result is that while everyone else your age has all kinds of issues, I don't. No random aches and pains, no high blood pressure, no indigestion after eating, no high cholesterol. I'm still in shape, no sagging skin, routinely get hit on by 20-year-olds and told I look like I'm 28, 35 years old. Currently work out regularly and do jujitsu. I won't lie and say there isn't some decline I'm experiencing that I just have no control over, but I have staved off most of it due to 25 years of good habits. What I have noticed is I spent too much time in the sun and ended up with a ton of hyperpigmentation on my face in my early 40s, but I found out you can get rid of it with laser treatments. I did not also know that laser treatments tighten and rejuvenate your skin. Since realizing that, I get them routinely, like 3, 4, a year. My knees are going bad, and my gas tank has dropped despite the fact that I have excellent cardio. It still takes far less for me to hit exhaustion than I did in my 20s. I also ended up having trouble seeing things close up that started at age 43, presbyopia, and now have reading glasses. Either way, aging is something inevitable in your 40s that you will experience. But if you have been taking good care of yourself, you will be in way better shape than others your age. When I was 42, I was in a situation where I had to compete physically against others who were primarily in their 20s. I beat all the women and 75% of the men in CrossFit-based activities. If you look online, you will find people in insanely good shape and health well into their 40s, 50s, and 60s, so it can be done. The choice is yours. But for me, this is the only life I got, and the only body I got. I'm going to take care of it for as long as I'm able. Story 20. It's easier to tack on extra pounds and harder to put on muscle. I'm tired after work. I had to cut a lot of carbs because they make me much more tired. Pooping has been the focus of my diet. Fuck losing weight at this point. I just want to be able to poop like a 20-yo again. I like eating dinner by 5 p.m. My hand grip has gone down from 214 pounds to 130 pounds, and carrying 50 pounds in my arms is a lot harder than it used to be. TBF, I have only been working at a desk for 5 years. The oddest thing is because of that, my back is still strong, and I still have my knees, but just give those two some time. Story 21. You need to really concentrate on your diet and consistent exercise. Eat whole foods not processed, and that will keep inflammation at bay. Protein is your friend. Strength training is your friend. Mobility training is your friend. Adhere to these basic principles, and there's no reason to not feel like you're 30 for the rest of your life. I'm 61, pain-free, hike, bike, golf weight train, run sprints, basketball, and other things. No medications, a good heart rate, and other vitals. There is a wealth of information today that I did not have when I was younger. You can prevent a lot of maladies by doing the things I mentioned, and I can't emphasize enough about strength training. Story 22. All the rumors are true. You limp when you get up from sitting or sleeping for the first few steps. All the sun damage on your skin becomes visible, and the dermatologist tells you there's nothing you can do. BC, you already ruined yourself. For those in a female body, your boobs begin their southbound journey, and you cannot hold your pee once you feel the urge, or cough, or sneeze, and your hair begins to move to other locations on your body. You sit in a jacuzzi soaking your aching muscle and wonder WTF you're going to feel like in your 60s as you down another wine or beer. Then make sure you take your acid meds before bed, to ward off the inevitable heartburn that is sure to destroy your good night's sleep. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Story 23. For me, it was pain. Lots of pain. Old injuries, new muscle joint pains. Oh, and my exceptional vision is gone. I can't read anything small unless it's at a specific distance now, losing near sight. For me, losing my good vision hurt the worst. I was always proud of it. Story 24. A lot of complaints here, especially from younger than 40. Sounds a lot like people need to exercise more and eat the right amount. A ton of back pain is because your back needs to be strong in order to hold you up all the time. If it's not really strong enough, it hurts. Not everyone, and that should be obvious, but I honestly feel I have less back pain the more active I am. It only really hurts if I've not been doing anything for a month or more. I know this comment sounds condescending, but it's not meant to pick on anyone or generalize. Story 25. Everything lowers BC, your HGH lowers after 25. For men, testosterone lowers 1 to 2% every year after 30. Estrogen rises, so with that, erectile dysfunction, loss of hair, lack of semen, premature ejaculation, loss of muscle, man boobs, fat in unwanted places, hard to build muscle, lose weight, etc., etc. It's because of that lack of HGH. Take a natural HGH releaser with a test booster that's going to block that estrogen. Look for ingredients like aspartic acid, which is going to tell the testes to create testosterone, and something like DIM or fenugreek and vitamin B6 to suppress estrogen. For women, same thing, just take an HGH releaser. It balances all hormones, including cortisol, which raises estrogen for both men and women. Precursor to that is progesterone. Sex drive lowers, perimenopause happens, then eventually menopause. Everything can reverse. Look into who David Sinclair is, and NMN, and actually see how you can reverse these aging effects, because you can. Story 26. It takes longer to recover. If you have a little fall and land on the ground a little harsh, you'll feel it for weeks instead of days. As you get into your 40OS, acid reflux becomes a problem. You really have to start to think about what foods you eat, how much you eat them, and when you eat them. For me, something like pepperoni pizza after 7:30 p.m. is a real risk for acid reflux that night. You also start to get the weirdest pains from doing nothing. As Ray Romano said in his most recent comedy special, that he went to bed one night and woke up with a sprained ankle. Don't know how he did it, but his ankle was hurting. Gravity for both men and women really starts to set in. And if you lose a lot of weight from diet and exercise, you look more gaunt than healthy, and your head looks huge compared to your body. And as you get into your 40s, your eyesight starts to go. I've always had good eyesight, and I remember about 10 years ago joking around with my friend how he has this ridiculously large cell phone, and he just told me that wait until I get in my 40s and he'll see how you need it. And he was right. Story 27. I have always been the kind of person who alternates taking good care of myself, like regular yoga, a steady running regimen, a moderate but solid gym habit, eating really well, and taking fucking terrible care of myself, hardly sleeping, working insane hours, abusing alcohol and nicotine, taking bodily risks in the name of adventure. Bluntly, I gave myself permission on the dumb stuff because I had confidence I could switch back to good habits readily. When needed, no harm, no foul. That's not so clear anymore. It's harder to reactivate good habits mode, and the consequences of the bad habits are harsher.